I have started something called Imagination Time. It is 1 hour after the kids go to bed. And then for that hour, I am not allowed to consume anything that exists in the real world.
Can I just say real quick?
No real information allowed.
I love that every time that you present one of the things that you do, you always have a really fun name for it. Like you name all of these things.
Raising a well-behaved child in this world requires strict discipline and punishment. Today, we will look...
No, we will not.
Hello and welcome to Childproof. I'm Tori Phantom.
And I'm Gwen Lathland.
And this episode is dedicated to all the folks who can't possibly believe that our kids are home for sickness and or weather 3 weeks in a row.
My husband and I did the math, and our children have not completed a full week of school since the middle of December. It is currently February. It's the middle of February.
Yeah, I think ours has been November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this episode is for all the people just like us, because we live in very different parts of the country and yet have been suffering from the same affliction of school can't seem to finish a week.
Yeah. Both of our children they're all home. All 6 are home right now. So,
So if you hear what sounds like dying pterodactyls in the background, it's one of our 6 children pretending to be a dying pterodactyl.
We both went the same way. So we're gonna set the timer, and
this time it really is for us. It's actually for our children. They will not allow us to talk more than 40 minutes before they're like, attention now.
Exactly. So let's start that timer. And today we are going to do an email roundup. We have been so excited to see all of you emailing us at our new email, childproofmail@gmail.com. And we figured, since we're home with our kids yet again.
Still.
We
love our kids. We love our kids, but we also conscientiously chose public schooling for them. So
yes. And to top it off, our kids are getting stir crazy because it's not just hard for parents. It's hard for the kids.
Yes.
Whose routines have gone out the window. What is a routine anymore?
And for us, the routine is gone. They don't get to socialize with their friends. And the reason we are out today is because it is 3 degrees. And I know I can hear all of you people who live in more northerly areas going, we don't cancel for 3. I'm proud of you, but we have to.
Yeah, the infrastructure just isn't there. We're out today because we got like 3 inches of snow. Yeah. And I was a northerner who was judgmental.
Northerly people, we know it's dumb. We don't like it. But they don't sell winter coats in my area. Yeah. Oklahoma alternates between Midwest and the South. Mm-hmm. And our winter coats are typically good for times when it stays in the 30s, maybe the 20s. You know, we can bundle up with some scarves and like the sock mittens. But if it dips below that, we've got kids who will really get themselves frostbite waiting for these buses.
Yeah, and that's in our area. There is some access, but there's they don't sell snow pants here, you know? No. And during the winter, my kids have indoor recess every day unless it's one of the springtime winter days.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid growing up in New York, you'd wear your snow pants and boots to school, and you'd go sledding at recess. We would only be indoor recess if the wind chill was below 0. We would get an announcement in the morning about what the wind chill was and if we got to go outside for recess. So, you know, the kids are struggling. We're struggling. So we decided to dig into our emails because you all make us happy.
You all make us. You make it so much easier to talk about things because you just tell us what to talk about.
So thank you for being a part of Childproof.
All right. So we're going to open strong with an email by Sean. Tori needs a button that makes us lose the game. By the way, you all just lost the game.
Yeah, it tracks. But I love this idea, Sean. I promise you, there will be a button. There's going to be a great
We unfortunately
button.
will not be able to do this big reveal because one day in the middle of the episode, for no good reason, that just there shall be the button.
The button.
And we will not give you any warning.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I go to hit the trauma button and I accidentally hit the game button. You know? Uh-oh. So thank you for the great idea, Sean.
I have been spinning out through. We're just going to spin off wildly onto whatever occurs to talk about in this episode. I have been deep into nostalgia. I think because the world is on fire and everything feels like it's falling apart. I'm like, the 90s feel safer. Let's live there. So I've been going through like old commercials on YouTube from my childhood and like toys and
Hello,
like
mother. Hello, father. Please fix mosquitoes.
Look, this is deep
Really,
childproof
father?
lore. Now you have to explain why you started singing that song.
Thanks for the package. That's why I'm writing. This song has really stops all the biting. This song has played rent-free in my head for over 20 years, and I don't have a dog. And that commercial, I don't know why. It won't get out of my head. It's just any given time of the day, it's just like running in an open tab in the back of my head. I see a dog, and my brain is just like, hello mother.
But yeah, I have been deep in the nostalgia. Someone showed a picture of the old school desks that are made of fiberglass, and they had those 4 round bolts. Mm-hmm. And as a child, I had hair down to my butt.
Same. Yeah, those are
so
painful
you
chairs
know
to
the
sit in.
pain of it getting caught in those bolts.
Yeah.
There's just like there's a permanent bald spot right at the base of your scalp, just because hair is stuck to the dang chair.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they still have chairs similar to that. So please don't hit up the email. Well, I'm 7 and I know.
Yeah.
Nostalgia can be nostalgia.
It doesn't mean that it's gone. It just means that I'm thinking about it. Like my kids get the pink amoxicillin. You know, I'm nostalgic for that because I have to take horse pills when I have an infection now.
When we say, oh, we drank from the hose, we're not saying you don't drink from the hose. We're just saying, as adults, I rarely find the need to drink from a hose, whereas a child, it felt like that happened a lot.
Yeah, maybe you should though. Maybe that would make you feel
would
better.
be the solution.
Just right now, it's -2. Go outside. Just drink from the hose.
Half my pipes are frozen though. I'm serious.
That's I always find it funny too with the nostalgia is when you introduce your kids to the things that are nostalgic, and you know the boomer thing you see on Facebook where it's like, do this quiz, and for everything that you know what that is or everything you've done, give yourself $1. Here's the score. And so I was scrolling the other day and I saw one of those, and so I gathered my children and I said, you guys get a point if you know what this is.
Yeah.
It's like a floppy disk, and it's like, that's the save icon on your Chromebook.
Yeah, that's what my teenager said. I showed her an actual floppy disk. She's like, oh, that's the save icon. I was like, do you know why it's the save icon? Because y'all old?
We could save.
Yes.
We could save like 50 megabytes of data on those things. That's my kid. I got her a t-shirt she had for years. And it's a rag now, you know? And it was my favorite t-shirt that I got her because on the t-shirt, there was like a cassette and a floppy disk.
Was it in neon colors?
Yes.
And it said, I have no idea what any of these are.
I have no idea what any of this is.
My daughter also had that same t-shirt.
Yeah, I think that you bought it because I showed you my
of
kids.
you.
Yes, it was so great. But that's my kid got really excited, but she's just as excited about finding my CD collection as I was about finding my dad's records. And she's like, she found this mixed CD of jam music, and she's like, I love this so much. And I'm like, all right.
Was there had to have been Boys to Men on it? There was 100% Boys to Men on a CD labeled jams.
This jam music was more like Grateful Dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
right,
I'm like, I have that on record, dude. And she's like, I like these CDs. They're just so cool. I love this old technology. Oh, yeah. I just lost the game. That's what happened. Mm-hmm. So next email comes from Oliver, who says, hi, Tori and Gwenna. I'm so glad Childproof is back up and running again. I really miss listening to y'all every week. I just wanted to say that I find it funny that on the rare occasion we get a timerless episode, you always say, see, this is why we need a timer, as if we don't thoroughly enjoy listening to your incredibly off-topic rants and convos. Anyways, so glad to have your podcast back again, which I think is a funny email to read after we just went on a rant
after we derailed ourselves 30 seconds into the episode.
Well, thank you, Oliver. We when we say we need the timer, it isn't as much about us going off topic. It's as much about we both talk so much. It would be a 4-hour episode.
We don't have the resources to give you guys 4-hour episodes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're just going to whiplash into a completely different. Olivia writes, in Australia, weed whackers are called whippersnappers.
I love that so much.
Just thought you'd like to know. We didn't want to know, Olivia.
I do like to know that. That is, I'm going to just start calling my weed whacker, weed eater a whippersnapper. That's great. I did use the weed whacker once, and I thought I broke it because I didn't know that the like plastic spinny things, which is the technical term if you were wondering.
Yes.
I didn't know that they're meant to like break off sometimes and that you can just pull it out and there's like more. And so when it snapped, I was like, oh, I broke it. Oh, no. And I was like, I felt so horrible. And then I learned I was wrong. So crisis averted.
I fully admit that while I am a strong, independent woman who can take care of herself, I have no idea what to do about the lawn. I don't know how to turn on our mower. I don't know how to operate our whippersnapper. I don't know. No. Jack handles that. And if Jack dies, then I'm hiring a very lovely group of people.
I'm actually in charge of the lawn. But the thing is that I don't care if it looks super nice. So my goal is to just like get it done. But we had to hire someone over the summer because I had jaw surgery. And so I couldn't do it. And Jim can't do it because, well, his knees are broken. And one time he decided to try to do it and he passed out.
Oh, okay. Lovely.
So I was like, yeah, let's just hire someone. It's fine. Yeah. So moving on, our next email here comes.
This one is from Tori, but not our Tori.
Yes.
Someone else's Tori.
Tori. You don't know them. They go to a different school. So this Tori says, hello, my name is Tori. Mine is too. And I wanted to exclaim. Thank you. I wanted to exclaim how excited I am to see the podcast is back. Honestly, January lasted 20 years for sure, but it felt even longer without my favorite podcasters to get me through the week and remind me that I am not insane. You mentioned some topic ideas, and I was hoping you might address something about caring for yourself as a parent when the month never seems to end, as an example. Not having you around as a podcast made me realize how much I rely on your podcast as a form of self-care.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I let other self-care routines fall to the side this month too, but finding things to help me be a better and more present person and parent have been vital for myself. And I swear I have talked to like 3 parents this month alone about the need to take care of themselves in order to be the best for the people who need them. I know for sure you've talked a bit about this here and there and might have done an actual episode a while ago, but in the tumultuous time we're in right now, it would be nice to have a reminder to all about that importance and maybe some ideas on how to make time for that kind of care. Thank you so much for all you guys do. You have been my comfort content creators for years now and make me feel less alone before I was a parent and now as a parent and caregiver for a person with disabilities. Can't wait to hear more from you, Tori. I'm not wearing my glasses and my hair is in my eyes, so I'm so sorry about reading that.
It's the emo hair.
Yeah.
You missed it right before we recorded. Tori attempted to emo swoop their own hair and it didn't work.
It's because I washed it. So it's just really fluffy right now.
So I recently, and when I say recently, I mean somewhere in the middle of that 18-year January we just endured, I found a new level of self-care. I have honestly needed to practice on myself for a long time, but I've been avoiding it. I put my phone down. That's my self-care now.
It's hard, isn't it? I feel like a lot of us have reached the point where we're like, you know what? I can just cold turkey this addiction.
Well, I have started something called imagination time. It is 1 hour after the kids go to bed where I look at my teen and go, unless it is an emergency, you and I will not be speaking. And I look at my husband and go, unless it is an emergency, you and I will not be speaking. And then for that hour, I am not allowed to consume anything that exists in the real world. I can read a book. I can write my books. I can, not my nonfiction. It has to be imaginary. I can listen to music. I can crochet.
Can I just say real quick?
No real information allowed.
I love that every time that you present one of the things that you do, you always have a really fun name for it. Like you name all of these things. And I love that about you. Like,
I don't know why I do that.
Thing, you're like, this is this thing, and I call it this. And I'm like buckled in and ready. I just you know, do whatever for a bit. And you're like, it's imagination hour. And I'm like, that makes it sound so much more fun. So now I'm thinking that perhaps a way to motivate ourselves into doing the self-care is to come up with a name for it. Like, that is so fun. It's like something to look forward to.
It's like chapter names. I adore making chapter names when I write. I just make chapter names for shit I do in my real life too.
Horrible at naming things. That's why I messaged you that day. Because I am now the producer of Childproof.
Yes.
And I'm good at that. I'm good at those skills. What I'm really bad at is naming things. So I texted Gwen and I was like, listen, you have to name the episodes. I can't do it. I'm so bad at naming things. So
I do. We divided this in between our strengths because I do all of what's called the collateral. So all of the images that you see, all of the thumbnails on YouTube.
We split the intro imagery.
We did do that.
Yeah, it's cool.
But yeah, no, I did most of the collateral and the words. Mm-hmm. Tori does all the technical because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So
anyway, back to self-care.
For me personally, it has been an exploration of finding what will bring me the most peace right now. And so when I'm finding that I am feeling really dysregulated or that I haven't taken a break in a bit, it's like I'm going to choose to prioritize myself over sweeping. I am going to choose prioritizing myself over this other thing, right? Because I think a lot of times we end up in this zone where we are sacrificing ourselves for the betterment of others. Yeah. And while that is well-intentioned, we all know how it feels when we're like so burnt out and there's nothing left to give. And so that's when we have to find things for ourselves, right? And so for me, I know that if I am really tense and I am really stressed, I go grab Glitter Bomb, my rat, because he is, you know, a personified bowl of pudding. He has no bones. He's very snuggly. And so I will sit with him because sitting with him, if I want him to stay snuggly and not, you know, start wanting treats or, you know, running around. Right. If I want my snuggle buddy, I have to relax my body. Yeah. And so I will snuggle with him. But then sometimes I want to actively do something because I think that's a thing, and we've talked about this. There is kind of this idea that relaxing and self-care, it's the spa, it's sitting down and watching TV, it's relaxing and that we're not moving, we're like relaxing our bodies. Some of us, that's not relaxing. The idea of like a massage stresses me out. I
love massages, but
I got half of a 10-minute massage once, and it was a very
that was it. That was enough. All done.
I literally like got up, and the massage therapist was like, "Is everything okay?" And I was like, "This is not for me." And I just like left. I was just, I'm done. I didn't probably handle that right. So to that massage therapist who came to my office 15 years ago. Or 10 years ago, and I made you really uncomfortable because I just randomly stood up and like awkwarded my way out of the room. I'm sorry about that. It would probably happen again. I didn't really know what to do in that situation. But that's one of those things is that you don't have to do what, you know, society is saying this is the relaxing thing. For me, relaxing is when I can turn my brain off because I have 17 trains of thought going at a time. And I know that if I'm playing an instrument,
there's only space for one. There's only space for one train going at that specific moment.
And if I think about the music I'm playing, I suddenly don't know how to play the instrument anymore. So it's really like it shuts my brain down in this way that is relaxing. It is this escape. And sometimes it's doing art. Sometimes it's reading a book. But it's what will be relaxing for me in this moment. And sometimes you have to experiment and then you find it.
I have developed a series of new hyperfixations. Let's do a quick jaunt into hyperfixation of the week.
Okay.
My current hyperfixation is I really like going to the nail salon and having my nails nicely done. I know that is not self-care for everybody. Again, we just had the conversation, but it is self-care for me. However, my nails are awful. The nails that grow out of my fingers are thin and awful, and it doesn't matter. I take my vitamins every day. I take biotin every day. I
got myself Flintstones vitamins to get myself to take them.
You know what? Some is better than none. So, but my natural nails are just absolutely atrocious. It's genetic. It's not a matter of care. It's just I have weak nails.
Yeah.
So I can't go as often as I would like to care for myself. So my hyperfixation is I've decided to learn how to do my own dip nails. I got the stuff from Nail Boo, and I got all the, am I good at it? No. Did I put a like one hand on yesterday? Yes. Can you see it? No, because I took it back off because I fucked it up real hard. But my hyperfixation is learning to do dip nails, which those bitches at the nail salon make it look easy. It is not.
I do really, really complicated manicures for my littlest lady because she's the girliest girl to ever girl. And like for Christmas, she got all these nail gems and all these polishes. I will post pictures on our YouTube page.
Yeah.
Because she's told me like teachers at school are like, wow, like where are you getting your nails done? Because I put the gems, I get the tweezers out. And I don't wear nail polish. This is just but that's not a hyperfixation of mine. That's a chore. My hyperfixation, but it's not like a chore that's like ugh. You know, it's like that's not something I would be doing otherwise. But if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do too much. That's who I am as a person. You're not going to believe what my hyperfixation is.
Is it having to do with the American Revolutionary War?
Yeah.
No, I'm no one's surprised, Tori. Do I need to put a timer on the timer?
No, I could do this. I'm going to go real quick.
Okay.
So right now I am at the Boston Tea Party because Samuel Adams was not one of the people throwing the stuff into the harbor. He was running a town meeting, but he and John Hancock and his buddies, they were guarding the ship for 20 days. There was like this time period where they were trying to get the tea sent back. And then when the government was like, we're not taking the tea back, Sam Adams held this meeting and thousands of people were there. And while that meeting was happening, all the tea gets dumped in the harbor.
Oh no.
That's so wild. And then there were thousands of witnesses. And when they were questioned about it, they didn't see anything. That's so weird, right? But then the government was like, Samuel Adams, we know you had something to do with this. And he's like, how could you possibly connect me to this? I was running a meeting and you know that I personally guarded the tea on those ships for over 20 days. So how could I was a good citizen and the one day I decide to have a meeting at 10 o'clock at night. This happens. It has nothing to do with me. That's so weird. So it's the stories that we get in school are they're so tame and they take all of the interesting things out of it.
Yeah.
So that's my hyperfixation. I think I did a pretty good job of getting that done quick. So.
You did. We're going to read a different email now. I wish to remain anonymous, but Gwenna, I am 31 years old with 2 kids who are in elementary school. I'm currently pregnant, so there's a good age difference between baby in my stomach and my youngest. How have you handled the huge age gap between your twins and your almost 18-year-old? Any advice for me on how to make each of my elementary kids feel just as loved, seen, etc. that doesn't include helping with a baby because we're already planning on having them help? Any ideas on how to ease my anxiety of how I'm going to be responsible for 3 humans in a health and safety in a crazy, scary world? Any advice is welcomed, please and thank you. So I know you called me out specifically, but oft forgot fact. Tori also has age gap kids. It's just not as dramatic an age gap as I have.
Between my eldest and youngest is 6 years.
I have 11 years between my oldest and my middle, and then 2 minutes between the middle and the youngest, but whatever. So we both have age gap kids. The first thing I point out every time someone asks about that age gap is you are about to remember exactly how much you forgot about parenting.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are about to remember, oh yeah, I remember that they did that. Oh,
yeah.
Great. I don't remember how to handle it, but I do remember that children do this.
Yeah.
For me, it was gross warning. For me, it was, I forgot about the tar poos of newborns. I forgot about the tar poo, and it was disgusting have to do it. I had to do it twice.
I don't miss diapers.
So I don't miss either. The other thing is, when that baby is little, it is a meatloaf. And I want you to remind yourself, it does not need as much attention as you think it does, which sounds so dismissive. And if you're a first time parent and you are pregnant with the very first baby you've ever had, to hear me go, it doesn't need as much attention as you think it needs, ignore me.
Yes.
Your first child does need all that attention, and you need to give it all that attention.
Well, and I think that's the thing too, is that when you do have the age gaps, you very quickly learn how easy it is to just carry that baby on your hip everywhere.
Yeah.
Like now your baby is an accessory while you're going to the other kids' stuff.
Yes.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
If you are a first time or almost parent listening to us being like, oh yeah, no, it's a meatloaf, just it's an accessory, wear it to the basketball game. That sounds cold and dismissive, but I promise you.
Yeah. It's good for attachment actually to just be wearing your baby.
Yeah. Baby wearing is really cool. One of my children let me do it. The other one didn't care for it. So,
and
baby wear if you can.
Too, that I think it can be helpful is to carve out the time for the one-on-one time. Now, I don't know your situation with support. I know that I have gym, and it has been a thing that I have always made a point to do, is doing things with a specific child that only they would want to do, or things the other kids would want to do, but this is just for us today. Yeah. And it's not all the time. There isn't enough time in the world to do it as often as we would like to, but it's those connection moments. And so like for my age gap kids, my two little ones, they go to bed at over an hour before my eldest, who is almost a teenager. And when they go to bed, my preteen will just swarm me and say, Mom, I'm going to talk at you now. Talk at you, to be clear. I'm going to talk at you. And that's our connection time. And I look forward to it because I know that we are going to hang out and it's going to be great. And so it can be tricky. And especially thinking about it, like I have these older kids, I'm going to have this baby. Baby sleeps so much.
Yeah.
So when baby is napping, when you have the time to do it, because we all know that baby naps, it's what you end up doing. It's
never what you wanted to do.
Yeah, and there's a million ways that can be navigated. But if you just take some baby nap time and just dedicate that time to the other kids, like it's going to be okay. They're going to be okay. And my middleest was so in love with my youngest. Like she was her baby. I had to be like, I actually do have to hold her. You're like a year and a half old. You can't just hold her. I have to be a part of this. But loved, still loves being a big sister. And so I think giving yourself some space to remember that your kids might be more excited about this and not see it as I'm losing time with mom or I'm losing this connection.
Well, and you, especially since you're entering this age gap, you've already added one to the mix because you've got two older children and then there was a pause and now you've got another on the way. When parents are looking at introducing a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old to a new sibling, that's one level of conversation where you're having to explain a whole lot all at once. You're wandering into potentially where do babies come from territory. You're wandering into love grows territory. If you're looking at a 9, 10, 11-year-old going, so I'm going to have another baby. You get to be a big sibling. Congrats. You don't have to start as far back in the explanations as you need to, which means you've got more space to go. Things are going to feel different and we will find a new normal.
And that's leaving that space for the kids to have whatever feelings they might have. Because even if they are disappointed or mad or whatever it is, they just need to work through that.
Yeah.
And if you just give them the space to have those feelings, they're going to move through it a lot faster.
And that includes after the baby is born, because what happens before the baby is born and what happens after the baby is born are completely different things. My oldest was pumped to have siblings. She was so excited and she loves having siblings, adores having siblings, is the greatest big sister. But when the littles were born, Abby did have a brief moment of, it's not fair. You're right. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. You did not ask me to have more children. You did not ask me to take more time away from the time that I was spending with you. You did not ask me to ask you to make sacrifices because I had to run off and have 2 other fucking kids. You're right. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Now let's discuss why you're feeling that way. And so we sort of had to break down what is fair. Is it fair? You're right. You didn't ask for this, but this is, you can let it make it miserable, or we can find good things. Go hard on the appreciation of your oldest kids, because it is so easy to forget how impactful and important. Hey, you're doing a good job. You look really nice today. Hey, I just checked your grades, and man, I just saw you got that algebra up to a B. Fuck yeah, buddy. Good job. And then off to the diaper, and then off to the bath, and then off to, whatever the baby needs. Like those tiny little positive reinforcement moments.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing that I've always done too. And I kind of consider it a performance review. And I will go to my kids individually, and there are 2 questions that can be the conversation starters, and I ask them both. First question: is there anything I am doing that is bothering you that you want me to do less of, or that is a problem for you? Mm-hmm. Question 2: is there anything that you need from me? Is there a need you have that I am not meeting? So is there anything that is bothering you that I'm doing you need less of? And is there anything you need that I'm overlooking that I can do more of?
I'm going to do a thing that rarely happens on the podcast. I'm going to slightly disagree, but only conditionally. Beware of that conversation when you're in postpartum.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. With that.
For that particular conversation being that open and vulnerable, if you've got the strength and the wherewithal, and postpartum depression, anxiety, rage is not really fucking with you, absolutely. Yeah, but hearing your children provide potentially valid critiques that you might need to hear, you really might need to know that information, that may slam into you a little harder if you're in postpartum. So if you have just had a baby, approach that conversation with caution. Like, make sure you build yourself up to it. Yeah. My kid could say something that accidentally hurts my feelings. They don't mean to, but I may internalize it as that. So in the postpartum, you're all sort of wobbly wibbly. Just approach it with caution in that period. But I love that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's been really beneficial. And I will say that for a long time now, one of my biggest and ongoing critiques is that I forget stuff a lot. And I'm like, that bothers me too. We're on the same page here.
Same.
I've started writing more things down. I'm working on it. Okay, so I think it's time for another email. And this one comes from A's mom, who says, "Hello, Gwenna and Tori. I am so excited for the new version of your podcast. I love being able to watch you on YouTube now," which, if you didn't know, you can watch us on YouTube now. Go find Childproof. What was that, Gwenna? Go find Childproof podcast on YouTube. And they say, "I wanted to share some news that I knew y'all would appreciate. A while ago, Tori said something about being referred to by their kids' friends as, quote, child's mom. And today, at my kid's school, 2 of her friends exclaimed, 'It's child's mom.' And I was so happy. I will no longer accept any other moniker. I also had a podcast topic request. Could you guys possibly discuss how you do parenting with your partner? Examples such as, did you and your partner decide to gentle parent together? Or did you make that decision and have to gentle parent your partner into gentle parenting? Do you ever have disagreeing views on parenting, and how do you resolve it? Thank you both for all that you do. Your podcast is my favorite, and it feels like chatting with friends. Also, I'm not pro timer because I could listen to you for hours, but I do understand the need for it."
So as far as relationships, honestly, we probably need to give a full episode, but we'll give some tidbits here. Yeah. I actually got super duper lucky in that in my relationship with Jack, I came to it with a kid. And he knew that I had a kid at the very beginning of our relationship. We were very cautious with when he was allowed to meet her and how much exposure they had to each other. And, we had the ability to give both of them space to develop a relationship with one another, which also meant that he was the first to follow my lead.
Yes.
There was never a point in the early days of our relationship, because I had a shift in my parenting. While I was in a relationship with Jack and I were just barely married when I switched to responsive parenting. And I was like, hey, I don't think the way I'm doing it is working. And Jack was like, okay, I think I'm going to try to do some other stuff. And he's like, I don't know how to do that. I was like, neither do I. Okay.
I mean, that's just kind of, you just defined parenting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how to do that. Neither do I. Okay. Yeah, that's parenting in a nutshell.
Now, there was a lot of discussion because as we both learned responsive parenting, as we both learned gentle parenting, yeah, we had to unravel a lot of our generational trauma. And I will say that while Jack was always incredibly open and responsive, because it was my idea, I was more ready to tackle it first. Mm-hmm. So I got through some of the bigger hangups that I had about my own childhood, my own upbringing. I got through those a little faster because I was the one who kicked that ball down the hill. Jack occasionally wanted to dig his heels in and really like, no, I'm holding on to this archaic concept.
Yes.
Because I turned out fine. That was our biggest. Mm-hmm. Well, I turned out fine. Did you, buddy? First of all, you married me. So let's just break this down.
Oh man. And see, I'm usually the one with the best self-deprecating jokes. So you win this one. That was great. No, very similar here. I had my eldest kid and I before Jim and I got together. And so, you know, when we, because we worked together, right? Mm-hmm. So he ended up meeting my eldest at some work party, right? And so the first time my eldest met him, we were not together in any way, but he brought my kid a piece of chocolate covered bacon. And it was like it's immediately
the most Southern thing.
It was in New York.
It was in New York?
Yeah. We worked
with that chocolate covered bacon was a Southern thing.
No, we worked with like a chef. And
okay. That makes sense.
She brought it to a potluck.
I love chocolate covered bacon.
It was very good. And so, but that just solidified the immediate foundation for their relationship.
Chocolate covered bacon.
And so I had told Jim that when we had started working towards a relationship, I was like, if you're not good with my kid, I'm not good with you. Like, I will always choose my baby over you. So if my kid is not cool with you, like, we're done. Because that's, I mean, it's hard to bring a new person into your child's life. And so he kind of followed my lead as well. And then we had our own. And I think he just kind of, after observing for all of that time and seeing how it worked, he was just kind of on board with it. And similar to me, he looked at his own childhood and was like, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to make my kid go pick out their own Switch. Like, that's the Southern thing.
I picked out my own Switches before.
Yeah. And so I think for us, there's of course been conflict. We're not going to agree on everything. But a lot of it too is just patience levels. And so that can be a tricky thing to get around.
Well, and I know for us, most of our disagreements are not necessarily, and this is, I'm going to have to explain myself. It's not so much about methodology. It's approach. It's not.
Yes. But
it's we have a problem and we both know what we want the solution to be, but he wants to go one way, which is not necessarily wrong. And I want to go a different way, which is not necessarily wrong. And a lot of times there is no middle ground.
Yeah.
So one of us has to capitulate because there's no finding a central space. We have solution A, make them put their pants on, or solution B, put their pants on for them. There's no middle ground. And he's like, just put their pants on for them, and then we'll work through that. No, this was a safety issue.
Instant.
Right. And I'm like, no, I want to work ahead of, we're going to have a fit about the pants. There's no getting around the fit about the
everyone
pants.
is having a fit about the pants. And they're not even like your pants now.
Right.
But you're having a fit about the pants. Yeah.
So I want to address before. He's like, no. We'll get the pants on. We'll secure the physical safety, and then we'll work through the emotional. I'm like, no. Like, we're in the house where no one's freezing with the pants on. And honestly, the colder they get, the more they're going to listen.
Okay. So for me personally, this might be a hot take. I don't believe that having a united front of parents with the kids is always for the best.
No, I love having disagreements with my husband in front of my children.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that if Jim loses his cool and snaps and it's inappropriate, like it's too much, I'm going to call him out for it in front of the kids in the same way that, and for me, it is only going to happen in the morning, right? If I am being way too grumpy and I haven't called myself out, I will hear, dude, like, why are you being like this? You're being like rude. And we call each other out for being jerks in front of the kids because we don't want the kids to feel like it is okay for someone to treat them that way and that it is okay to call out even an authority figure for being a jerk. Yes. And so the united front is we are united in making sure that we are going to keep each other in check.
Now, for the most part, we sort of have boundaries that we have discussed there is a call out, and then there is the discussion that we may or may need to have afterwards. That discussion may or may not need to be in front of the kids.
Yes. And that's the same thing with us. That call out, it's kind of like a, hey, why are you acting this way? Hey, and that's, I need to take a breath.
Yeah. Mine is, and it is the most triggering and calming thing at the same time. Hey, did that feel like it helped? Listen here, you fuck. No.
Isn't it sometimes you end up accidentally like more passive aggressive than you meant to be? Like, I think one thing I said to Jim, I was like, you're arguing with a 7-year-old. That wasn't helpful.
If you win, congrats. That. You're smarter than a 7-year-old. How's that going to make you feel, bro?
Yeah. We are not all going to be perfect and pleasant all the time. That's kind of part of being a person.
No, to be clear, it's did that feel like it helped? That's Jack to me almost every time. Did that feel like it helped?
Jim and I have an acronym we'll say at each other, and we'll just say to each other, we'll say SBAC. So the acronym is SBAC, and I'll just let you try to figure out what that means in your head. I'm not going to say it on this.
No, I don't know what it is. All right, I think we have time for one more email before the timer goes off. This one's from Dustin. To start, I just want to let you know I thought your YouTube podcast was great. Thanks. Still going on.
Thank you.
Tony the Tiger, great. That was
Can you do that again?
No,
please,
I refuse to do that again.
Can you do that again, please?
I followed you both on Facebook. That sounds stalkerish. I swear it's not. Typing that doesn't seem to help. And I'd sometimes listen to the podcast when I was an over-the-road trucker. But for a while now, I haven't because I'm driving local. Congrats. Over the road's rough. Yeah. My father-in-law was a trucker. Over the road is rough life. I'm very happy that you're doing YouTube. We are too. Please follow us at Childproof Podcast on YouTube. Other things I wanted to say, but if I save this as a draft, it'll never get sent. So great job. Love it. Dustin. Yep. Mood, buddy. The number of texts that Tori gets at like 3 o'clock in the morning going, I know full well you're asleep. I'm going to be kind of pissed if you respond, but if I don't send this right now, I will forget.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that's thank you for all of the nice things. But that's literally, I do that to Gwenna all the time. I know that Gwenna doesn't work on the weekends and I do. So I will text her. I know you're not working right now, but if I don't say this, I never will. I feel that. Wait, there's a PS on that email.
PS. Not thrilled I lost the game.
How many times did we lose the game this episode? And there's our timer. There it is.
That's how we're ending.
I like it. I like it. We're just losing the game all day.
We're getting a button.
Yeah, we're gonna get a.
We also need to get a Rickroll button.
We do,
but I'm only allowed to use it once a year.
I think you mean the button where you're gonna say you're gonna do the commands.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't think we could just like use that song. I don't think that's.
Pretty sure there's rights against that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening to the Childproof Podcast. We do want to hear from you so we can have more episodes just like this. Email us at childproofpodcast@gmail.com.
And be sure to give us a follow on YouTube, Childproof Podcast. And you can also follow our individual channels. I am Tori Phantom. She is Pleasant Peasant Media. On other platforms, you could find her at Mama Cusses, and you can find me as Tori Phantom.
Still Tori Phantom.
Yeah.
Listen, here, once upon a time, YouTube was like, yeah, we're not going to let you have the Mama Cusses name because it's profane. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So we do still need you to rate us. We're still on everyone's favorite podcast platform, Spotify, Apple, most other places. If we're not on your favorite platform, please email us. We are now completely in charge of our own distribution. We are working on getting onto iHeartRadio. It's a little bit of a process, but we're working on it.
And please be a little patient with me as the new producer. I've never done this before. So if it's a little wonky, that's my bad, and I'm sorry.
Leave us a rating. We really like reading them. And remember, sometimes our kids are the assholes.
And sometimes it's us. And Samuel Adams. I really love him.
It's mostly the weather, though. Fuck this.
I know.